Hitler is leaving the Berghof for Berlin to make a speech in reaction to the latest peacemaking attempts of the Pope and President Roosevelt. It's only a matter of time before the German armies will march into Poland. The whole world anxiously awaits Hitler's next move. Hitler speaking before the Reichstag, the powerless German parliament. President Roosevelt and the Pope have written letters to Hitler imploring him to respect the neutrality of all Western European countries. Hitler jokes about their official request and calls all the countries by name, even the small state of Liechtenstein. But his answer is clear.
Finland, Lettland, Litauen, Estland, Norwegen, Schweden, Dänemark, Niederlande, Belgien, Großbritannien, Irland, Frankreich, Portugal, Spanien, die Schweiz, Liechtenstein, Luxemburg, Polen. Meine Antwort.
On September 1st, 1939, World War II begins. Without warning, Germans invade Poland. Poland does not have a chance to defend itself. The superior German army marches through so quickly into Poland that a new word is coined: Blitzkrieg. The German army uses various tank units supported by massive air raids to destroy the enemy's communication and supply lines as quickly as possible. After the tank units, the infantry follows. This way of fighting was fairly new. Until then, the wars were more or less trench wars. The Polish capital Warsaw is heavily bombed by Hermann Göring's Luftwaffe. It takes 75 divisions of Hitler's army to conquer Poland in less than 1 month. The future looks bleak indeed for the conquered Polish people. Hitler is very worried that England could cut off the Swedish iron ore supplies that he so desperately needs for his war machine. He decides to make a pre-emptive strike and conquers Denmark and Norway to create a buffer to protect his supply line. Again, German troops are marching through the streets of defeated cities. As well as the new tanks, Germany uses a completely new weapon: the parachute troops. They are the first used during the Battle of Norway in April 1940. It is again Hermann Göring's Luftwaffe who is issuing death and destruction. Again, German troops march through occupied territories. On May 10th, German troops invade Holland, Belgium, and Luxembourg. The port of Rotterdam is heavily bombed, and the densely populated inner city is nearly flattened. It's another blitz attack, and in a few days, the 3 small countries are obliged to surrender. On June 5th, 1940, it is France's turn to be invaded. Again, Hitler applies his blitz approach, and within 3 weeks, numbers of German divisions trample the country. The French are unable to stop the German force. France, which had held out unbeaten for 4 years during World War I, was now out of the war after 6 weeks. The newly appointed British Prime Minister Winston Churchill sends an expeditionary army to try to help France, but the German forces are invincible. Hitler, to show his goodwill towards the British, orders his troops to stop attacking. The British army, totally overwhelmed by the German might, flee back to England, leaving behind most of their armors. Hitler is so overjoyed when he receives his general's report of the conquest of his arch-enemy friends that he makes a victory dance on the terrace of the Berghof. Germany experiences an even stronger satisfaction when France is forced to sign her surrender in the same train car in which the German Empire had to sign its surrender in 1918, at the end of World War I. Shortly after the fighting is over, the people of the conquered lands begin to feel the hardship of Nazi terror. After the surrender of France, Hitler visits Paris to see the sights. Hitler would later mention to Speer that this was the sweetest feeling of victory in his life. Berlin, summer 1940. Hitler returns victoriously from France. Hundreds of thousands of Germans hailed their Führer, and all the church bells in Germany ring for 1 hour to celebrate. Members of the Hitler Youth welcome their Führer at the train station. The propaganda filmmakers have installed dozens of film cameras for the making of a newsreel.
Begrüßung auf dem Anhalter Bahnhof.
After Hitler greets his main associates, he leaves the railway station. The entire event is broadcast live throughout Germany and all occupied countries. In Berlin, millions of people are waiting to get a glance of their Führer.
Feierliches Glockengeläute und der Jubel von Millionen empfangen den siegreichen Feldherrn in der Reichshauptstadt.
The roads are barricaded by brown shirts and SS soldiers. As a modern Caesar, Hitler stands in his open car receiving the ovations of millions of enthusiastic Germans. The roads are covered with flowers, just like in the days of the Roman Empire. In front of the Reichschancellery, a crowd of several 100,000 people await their Führer to make an appearance on the balcony. This balcony was specifically designed by Albert Speer for such occasions. With Hermann Göring, the Fuhrer watches a crowd filled with hysteria who even sing the so-called England song, a song specially composed for the German army in their battle against the British. Hitler and Göring hardly believed their eyes, seeing the enthusiasm of the people.